And hello everyone, it's time for another flashlight review from Lights and Gear. Today is one of the latest from Nitecore. This is the E4K 4400 lumens in a handheld flashlight that's only about 4 inches long. It's the next generation, as they call it, and they also provide a free battery, a Nitecore 21700, which is actually USB rechargeable, and the flashlight through an adapter also takes other types of batteries, including CR123s and their rechargeable 16340 cousins. So this is a standard Nitecore box with all the information on it, including the top output, which is 4400. There's your beam distance at 211 meters. Its impact resistant, and is also waterproof to 2 meters. Opening up the box and looking at the contents, you'll see everything that's here, including a lanyard, which of course would come with most Nitecore products. Inside the lanyard is the adapter here for the other batteries, so you can slip the battery inside the little unit here. I'll talk about that in a few moments. And here is the USB-C charger, which is used to charge the battery with. Here's the user manual, which if you want to see in great detail or greater detail, you can visit my written review at lightsandgear.com. And here is another accessory package, including a spare O-ring and a standard type of standard lanyard to put around your wrist. Here's a quick start guide, so maybe if you don't want to look at the manual in too much detail, you can at least use this to start using the light right away. And here is the flashlight itself. The pocket clip is normally inside the package, but I took that off and attached it on here. So as you can see, it's pretty standard length for what would be more or less of an 18650 type light, although this being 21700, it is a little bit thicker than an 18650 light would be. And I'll show you the battery here in a second. You have some knurling right here. You have the LEDs, of which there are 4, and these are actually Cree XPL2 V6 LEDs. And this is a typical type of pattern you have when you have multiple LEDs. None of them are set particularly deep within each of its own little reflector, which is smooth, of course. But what you have here is a very flood-like beam, and you can see pictures of that on my website, and we'll get to that in a moment. So your 4 LEDs are right here, which obviously helps give you that 4,000 plus output. On the back, it's flat, so it does tail stand beautifully. Your switch is right here on the side. It's a very big switch. It is the only means of operating the light. So let's open this up here. The only the couple of little complaints I would have about the light is the fact that the cap here is very thin. So I find there's not a whole lot to grip onto, and with the clip here, you can only turn it in small turns. Of course, you don't have a wide, long turn to go. But anyway, and here you have a spring inside the cap. There is no spring inside the light. It's just a post up here at the top. And here is the battery they supply, which is their own 21700. 5000 mAh, and is USB rechargeable right there. Now the thing about this battery is it's extremely long. This is the longest 21700 I've ever seen. It's several centimeters longer than any 21700 by any brand that I already own. To compare it to the size of an 18650, now most 21700s in length would be the same as an 18650. They're obviously a bit wider, but they're going to be the same length. But here's the difference in size. You can see here, or the difference in height or length, whichever, of a standard battery. So that's the difference there. And that being said, is that any battery other than this that you use in the light may have difficulty operating. This one happens to be alright. I mean, it is this much shorter, and it does take the smaller batteries, of course. It takes the CR123s, just like this, which are disposable. It'll take its rechargeable cousin, which are the same size, 16340, and you can also use 18350, which are also this size, 3.7 volt rechargeable, but they're a little bit wider than these. But those two will also fit inside the magazine holder here. But in that case, of course, if you were going to use, say, the 18650, you just slip it inside here like this. This is the positive end, so that goes in the light, just like this. And it doesn't come quite as far to the end as their battery does, but it'll still make contact here with the cap. Good quality high drain batteries like a Panasonic Q30, the pink ones, you know, they do not work in this light because they go too far deep inside the tube, since most of them are flat top. I've never seen a button top like that, so they're all flat top, but they go so far into the tube that there's no connection here with the spring. So their battery here, as I said, which is USB rechargeable, as soon as you plug the cable in, which of course this comes with a USB-C, so as soon as you plug the cable in, you'll get a small light up here on the top, and that'll illuminate in red as soon as it's plugged in. And then on the other side over here is a green light, and you'll see that when it's charged. And if you want to see pictures of that, you can look at my written review at lightsandgear.com, where it is demonstrated. So let me put the cap on here. There are some nice features of this light. It does have direct access to the lowest mode. It also has direct access to turbo, and there are 3 emergency flashing modes: strobe, SOS, and beacon. Now there are also, I meant to show you this. As soon as you put the battery in, of course, you'll get a voltage indicator reading on it, and I meant to show that to you. So let me just retighten this up again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it looks like about 3.7. So there's your voltage counter. Now you can also access the voltage anytime without changing the battery, but it won't give you as detailed a reading. You can press the button once, and then it just blinks, like it blinks up to 4 times. No, actually it blinks up to 3 times. It blinks up to 4 when you change the battery, but when the battery's already in there and you're just checking it this way, it only blinks up to 3 times. 3 times would be 50% or higher, and once would be 10% and lower, and twice would be somewhere between 10 and 50. So right now, 1, 2, it just gives me 2 blinks, so it's somewhere between 10 and 50% at the moment. Yes, I was going to talk about the 2 different operating modes. It has 2 different user interfaces. There's a tactical and a daily. So tactical mode and daily mode are the 2 interfaces that are available. The only difference between the 2 is the fact of the special modes. If you're on the daily mode, you have no access to strobe, SOS, or beacon. They are only a part of the tactical mode. Now, turbo, of course, is part of the regular sequencing, of which there are 5 modes. There's ultra low, low, medium, high, and turbo. So unlike other lights, you do get ultra low and turbo just by sequencing through. Many lights, they have those hidden, but on this light you do get to sequence through all 5. And again, if you want strobe, then you have to go over to the other UI. Now this at the moment is set on the daily mode, so there will not be the flashing modes on here at the moment. To turn it on, you just, to turn it on, you have to press and hold. This is where this interface is different than a lot of other lights, and different from other Nitecores that I've used as well. But if I do a double click like that, I can get to instant ultra low. So that's available anytime with a double click, but it has to be off in order to do it. And let me just turn this light off over here. And here is your ultra low, which is 2 lumens, so that'll illuminate anything in pitch dark up close. and it does have a very nice beam. It is a cool white, but it has a very nice beam. It won't show up in the other room there, being that it's on ultra low. Now, the thing about the UI on this is, if you want to change the mode, which would be typical, you have to turn it off in order to do that. You can actually give it, because to change modes, you have to have the light off and then do a holding press. So right now, if I want to go to the next mode, I can actually click it twice, like this, off, on, and then hold it, and then it will start cycling through all the other modes. So now we're back at the beginning again. There's low, medium, high, turbo. Ultra low, low, medium, high, turbo. So here's the turbo, which is incredibly bright. The camera has a difficult time trying to show how bright it is. The wall in front of me is almost blinding. So you can check out the outdoor pictures at my written review, and I'll run you by a couple here in a minute. But anyway, this is turbo right now. Now to turn it off, you just give it a simple click. And there is mode memory, of course, so it'll always remember the last mode. Now if I click it once, it won't do anything. I have to press and hold in order for it to come on again, and then of course it'll come right back on in turbo where it was. Now again, if I want to go down in the modes, I have to turn it off and then turn it on by pressing and holding. So here we are down in low right now. Now if I want instant turbo, I can press and hold, and it's a tactical turbo. So from any of the regular modes, I can press and hold and it'll go to turbo instantly, and then as soon as I release, it'll go back to where I was. So it's a tactical. As long as your finger is on the button, it'll be on that mode. And as per the manual, I believe turbo is supposed to be about 30 minutes. It's supposed to run for about 30 minutes in turbo, but there will be an automatic step down after a bit, since it starts getting pretty warm when it's on turbo. So you'll get maybe a minute or so, or a little less, and then it will kick down closer to the high mode at that point. The manual also says that turbo is not accessible, or turbo is only accessible if you're using a 21700 or an 18650. If you're using two of the smaller batteries, you won't get turbo at all. It'll just go to high every time. Now to change over to the other UI, what you'd have to do, of course, is have the light off, and then you're turning it on and turning the cap at the same time. This is how you change the UI. So if and this actually, the cap is very stiff, so it's you need a little bit of force here and to turn the cap while you're pressing the button. I have to press here and turn like that, and then it should, and then as soon as I tighten it again, and it'll give you a flash, and that indicates, but it's hard to see if you're turning the cap. Unless you're looking at it like this, it's hard to see the flash. But it'll give you one flash if you are changing over to tactical, and two flashes if you're changing over to the daily mode. But anyway, it should now be in the tactical mode. So in other words, if I do a double press here, actually a triple press, because that's how you get to the either turbo or the special modes, you can do a triple press from off in order to activate that. So if I do a triple press here, 1, 2, 3, there I am in strobe. And then if I press and hold while I'm in strobe, it'll move over to SOS. There's your SOS. And then if I press and hold again, it'll go over to beacon. So there's your beacon mode. And if I continue to press and hold, it'll just keep cycling them. So there's strobe again, and one quick press will turn it right off. So that's how you get to the special modes and how you change it from daily to tactical. So then when it's in tactical, again, you can be on any of the modes and then press and hold, and you'll still get turbo the same way as you do if you're on daily mode. You'll still get turbo in the same manner, but if you do it 3 times, you'll get over to strobe. Now the other thing about the 21700 battery, which we were talking about a few minutes ago, if you were looking to try to charge that battery in an external charger instead of plugging it into a USB, you'll find it rather hard to find a charger which will actually accommodate the battery since it's so long. I have many chargers, and I actually tried to fit the battery into all these different chargers, and I could not make it fit. It was just too long for all of them. The only charger which I did find, which it actually will work in, was this XTAR unit here, and it fits rather nicely with a tiny bit of room to spare. This is the XTAR ST2, but it will fit in this one. So there's a link below in the description below if you want to check this charger out on Amazon if you're interested. But anyway, let's take the E4K outside and see what it looks like in the darkness. Alright then. Okay, that's what it does outside, and very impressive, I will say. I mean, that turbo mode is really really bright, and with the way the beam pattern is, it's not spotlight or anything, so it certainly does light a large area around you. So that's what you basically get out of the Nitecore E4K. As I said, if you want to read or see more about what's in the manual here, you can check out my written review, which is below. The link is below at lightsandgear.com, and of course there is a link below if you want to pick up an E4K from Amazon. And if you have any questions or comments, I certainly hope you'll let me know below about that as well. But the Nitecore E4K is a very powerful handheld pocket flashlight, and you can't get much brighter in a flashlight of this size at this particular time in history. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave me questions below, and we'll see you next time with more from Lights and Gear. Have a good one. Take care.